seen the clips of Joe Rogan?
I didn't see the whole compilation, but like as soon as I seen the title, I was just like, oh, like I already know what they're gonna try to do.
They said 70.
70 what?
70 pieces of nigga.
70 what?
He said nigger 70 times. Oh no, it was nigga. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they didn't
times?
precise ER.
Yeah, it wasn't like I don't think it was ER.
Oh,
like
I didn't know
time,
about this. 70
time.
times. I thought this was like a one instant thing he said.
Like, it was a compilation.
This is over like his like 15 years of podcasting.
Yeah.
And like he was saying, he broke it down as not making excuses for everything like that. It was wrong, but it was just him out of context. Every conversation for what he was saying was out of context, but it was just taken as like just a direct like him saying nigga. And like for the most part, like before this came out, I say like who are we judging Joe Rogan as before? Like before this came out to like, you know what I mean? As of right now, you know what I mean? Evolved humans who we day to day better ourselves from our mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at him and I'm like, no moment before that was I like have any type of feel of racism from Joe Rogan. Like I wouldn't say he's the truth, but he keeps it real. You know what I mean? So I super fuck with it. I don't see he's had pair black people from comedians, physicians, what is it? Astrologists?
Astrophysicists.
Oh, you're talking about
the spaceman.
Yeah,
like Neon deGrasse and
Neil deGrasse.
bro, he's got like black people in all fields and all rankings come on talk about as white as brown as so like I never got like a racist vibe from him. So not I'm gonna like I don't have the power to cancel a man, but like I'm not gonna partake in this whole like you know what I mean.
Like I'm never, but to me it's one of those ones. It's like I saw this thing on Twitter where it was saying how they've been trying to cancel Joe Rogan for a lot because he always like challenged the status quo in terms of like his perspective and like he's always against the mainstream and always the things, you know what I mean? And he always brings people on this podcast that always provides a different perspective than what people would normally see in a day-to-day basis.
Facts.
So because of that, people just don't like that, and so they've been trying to cancel him for a while now.
Yep.
So they've been trying to cancel him, so they figured, well,
what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, what's the best way to do it? Because they try to get on Spotify so that Spotify can start doing stuff.
He makes
Spotify
too much money.
Spotify was like, nah, he brings them way too much. He brings them a crazy audience. So
one of the owner or CEO of Spotify said, you know, instead of getting rid of Joe Rogan, we're gonna send $10 million to marginalized groups.
Even like look at that, but like I'm saying,
I said that's less expensive.
You know, like, but I'm saying like they've been trying to get him, trying to cancel him for a while because some of the stuff he says can be taken as like in a wrong way or out of context. So this is like the perfect stage or the perfect opportunity. So they use this, and then instead they're bringing it to a conversation of race when it's not even about race. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a conversation of let's look at what they were trying to do to him before. Like they've always been trying to cancel him for a while now. So this is just another thing that adds fuel to the fire that like kind of like provides a different perspective or negative perspective of who he is. But when you really look at it, he just challenges everyone and the stuff that they do. You know, that's how I see it. I'm not saying I don't think it's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like it's a good thing that he said it, because I don't think he should have. But at the same time, you have to acknowledge the fact that like the reason why they're doing this now. You know what I mean? Like they could have came out with this for a minute now. Like why now?
That's a big fact, especially when they date from 12 years ago.
Yeah, like these are not stuff. This is not like, from this year. These are a compilation of.
At what point? Oh, my bad. I was just saying. At what point does, like, are you allowed to like grow from past mistakes?
Clearly never, because even for celebs, they bring up shit from like 03, fam. Like anything they can dig up. It's crazy.
Like that's the one thing that kind of confused me and cheesed me with it. Like, if someone goes through like a growth process, like. Are we supposed to look at them? We're not supposed to look at them in the same light, right?
Nah, you're supposed to shit on them forever.
Fam, like that's the thing that makes it like I just find this mod is because I understand he did it and he needs to own up for that. I'm not saying he should run away from consequences or anything like that. You gotta let people grow, or you gotta find a way to let people grow. Like I understand punishing people and making sure people are accountable for their actions, but at the same time. What is the solution of all this? Are we just trying to page someone? Is the goal of all this just to make sure someone feels shitty, and then you feel good because you now have the power to make them feel shitty? If that's the goal, then this is all pointless to me.
Nah, that's the thing too. Everyone's a fucking hypocrite. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's just like there's never any room to grow. But it's like grow. You know, we leave you. But anytime you move out of order or against the grain or become the black sheep, it's like we'll just shit on you again. Yeah, we'll
bring it back up.
Bring up. You know what I mean?
Hey, remember when you did that?
Oh, my bad.
No, I'm just saying like that. They'll just be like, hey, remember when you did this like 20 years ago? Yeah.
I was gonna say like even the two. I'm not even dissing the two, but like you've evolved bare as like a person. Like, you know what I mean? But say some shorty you're a big superstar now, you have a thing, and I don't know, you hop on a podcast and they're talking about relationships, and some shorty from first year comes on, this nigga here, like like vouching for you as a whole person from a whole 15 years ago. Like that's terrible, fam. Can't be doing them things though.
I mean, and just let it be known it wasn't anything crazy. It was just mildly disrespectful.
Nothing crazy still. My bad. Maybe I should have used you more times.
It's fine.
But yeah, I don't think in this society there's any room to actually like make a mistake and people seeing it as just a mistake. They will try and attach your mistakes to who you are as an individual and your character. You know what I mean? Like it's like even if you're trying to do good, you know, they might be like, you're doing good, cool. Like, hey, he's doing good now. But as soon as you do something negative, it's like, whoa, y'all got your ass. We got him. You know, and it's just like,
said I couldn't wait.
I feel like people just have like, they just get joy from canceling other people, from making other people's lives miserable. And it's just kind of just like, I don't understand why.
100%.
Cancel?
You know?
You guys remember, I feel like it ties also within like, man's remember the term like, fundamental attribution error?
Nah.
It's basically like it's when you get criticized for what you've done as like perceived as your character. So say you're trying to go to work, right? And you just had like the shittiest day, your car broke down, your kid got ran over, okay, not ran over, but your kid got hurt. And then you come to work and they're like, you're late. And you're just like, I had a terrible morning. And they're just like, yeah, like you're just not punctual. You're not responsible. Like you're a terrible character. It's just like you're judging the person on like the act as like their character instead of actually looking at like the attributes that had caused like, you know what I mean, error, right? So I feel like it's like a huge thing with that mixed with hypocrisy. Like, bro, our world is messed up, bro. It's actually
for sure.
crazy,
and also with labeling too. Like, if we're bringing it back to like the academics, I would say like a theory that I could associate with it would be labeling theory, and that's something I learned in like this class I took in uni called like deviance, or some deviance class. But it was pretty much saying that like as criminals, they notice that like once they do something and they get penalized for it, and say for example they stole candy out of a store, and from then on, like in the law enforcement world, they're known as thieves or they're labeled as thieves. Or every time they see them, they just see it like somebody who stole. You know, eventually, even if they didn't want to be a thief anymore, eventually they will start conforming to the idea of being a thief because that's how everyone in society already sees them. So it's a lot easier for them to just to conform to it and just pick up those traits and habits because you're already calling me a thief. Well, I must just be a thief.
Once a cheat, always a cheat.
Yeah, it's like that type of thing, right? And so that could happen. That also, I see that happening a lot in society nowadays.
But people are beings of patterns. If we notice a pattern, we're just gonna associate things to it.
Which is logical.
Logical. That's logical. But I'm saying like off the first instance of doing something bad. Yeah, is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about like obviously if somebody killed like 50 mans, he's a murderer. Yeah. Like I'm not saying that he's being labeled as a murderer and therefore that's why he's killing. If you already killed 50 mans off the bat, bro, you're a murderer. Come on, you know what I mean?
But to say like to actually go through like what's it called rehabilitation to come out, you know what I mean, even to go as far as being like a Christian and being saved and to come out and literally truly come out, do your sentencing and do right by people, become a completely and then for them to still be like yo, like you're a murderer, or anytime you're in a weird situation they're like, oh, you're a murderer, when it's clearly not the case, you know what I mean? Right off thing,
and that's where I agree because it's just so ridiculous. Yo, cancel culture might be the biggest haters out here. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hugest haters,
like
fam.
Biggest haters. Like every year, you just
biggest haters.
You know someone's gonna get canceled every year, but you just don't know who.
But the cancel culture is starting to get a little weak now because like, when you see the baby go and come back, because bro, when you have like
No, cancel culture handled the baby. The baby had to do a whole PR run.
Yeah, he had to do a whole PR run before man's like he came in and had him at his side. Like, what are you gonna tell a man who's like, where a billionaire's like, yo, step with me? You can't do nothing. Like, what are you gonna? They're still talking about like Kanye.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You said yeah. I was thinking Angela Yee from Breakfast Club, but keep on.
I don't know. This is like the third time they're trying to cancel this guy. I feel like once you just keep pushing with it and like you could just, I don't know, but I guess it varies.
I don't know. I just feel like someone else is gonna get canceled and it's gonna be a big thing again. Like it always dies down for a period of time where nothing crazy is really happening in the media, and then boom, something wild happens and it's like like we're back on it. You know, let's cancel them. That's the pattern that I've noticed. You know,
100%. I just don't see like how this can go as far as it like when you're like a judge calling like some random kid a nigger from like on a show, not a show, sorry, on a footage of a camera or whatever, calling him, and like the whole world sees, like, you know, especially you're a judge, like a criminal judge, that can get a little tricky, you know what I mean? Especially when it predominates us out there getting, and she's doing the sentencing, like it's kind of
tough because they have the power. It's not just their opinion, because reality, like, everyone's got an opinion. There are racist people. There are people with prejudice. Like, in the end, like, there's gonna be people like that of all races and shit like that. Which is, it is what it is. Is when you have the power to do shit. Is when you have the power to do shit. If you can start affecting another person's life, if you can start making sentences, if you can actually beat someone up because of your prejudice, or kill them in many cases, or stuff like that,
and it being deemed like okay to do so,
and it's being deemed okay because of that, because of the prejudice, then I have an issue with that, right?
You know, it's when you start, it's when the laws and your prejudice start, you know, working along the same path, or making the law used in the favor of your prejudice and your bias. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what I would see what you're talking as about. You know what I mean? It's like, if a judge has a bias towards black men, he's probably gonna give harsh sentences to black men.
But then how does that play full role back into like we were just agreeing on before, though? You know what I mean?
No, but we want people. If we're saying that if you do something wrong, you should be punished for it. But if you're rehabilitated, I don't think it's fair to go back to that point. But if you're a judge right now and you're looking at, like, let's say you're judging black men way harsher than anybody else, where's the rehabilitation? You haven't gone through none, right?
Yeah, there's no rehabilitation at all.